Hey guys, in this video we have some stock discounts right now that I think are pretty exciting. I'm going to tell you a few of the companies I'm really looking at buying right now for a discount as the market has been down today on the 11th of July. So as you can see, the S&P 500, which is kind of the gold standard we compare things to, the S&P 500 is down almost 1% today, and for whatever reason, I think it's because of some of the market news that's coming out, some of the financial news coming out for the U.S. economy, and also some of the different blue chip companies, as we would call some of the biggest companies that I've been a proponent for over the last year or so, are on sale right now in the way that I look at them. When I see a stock is down for a company I'm really a big fan of, the one that I believe is a top tier company that's going to be a huge market leader in the future, or maybe already is right now, I get excited because that's when I like to buy, is when they have a dip. So I'm going to show you a few of the main companies on my watch list that are down right now that I'm considering buying myself at a dip. By the way, I'm not giving you any financial advice in this video. I'm just showing you what I'm looking at, some of the ones on my watch list, and we'll explain quickly why I believe in each of these companies, a few bullet points for each one, and also what they're at today. So Amazon, obviously, we all know why Amazon is a very valuable company. They're down 2.37% today. I believe that, if you saw my last video, Amazon could go even higher and make even more strides because they are supposed to launch a new kind of competitor to something like Wish.com or some of these Chinese discount stores online. So Amazon, already one of the biggest retailers in the world, could also be competing with these very cheap, like Shein and a few others, where they have these really cheap products like apparel and stuff like that that have gotten really popular. So I think buying them at a discount is a big deal. They're at a nice discount right now. Over the last 5 days, they're down 1.78%. Obviously, a pretty big dip here on July 11th. But if you look over the past year or so, they've been a steady riser at 51%, while if you compare it to the S&P 500 over the past year, it is only at 25.8%. Also, we have Nvidia. Obviously, everyone knows that Nvidia is pretty much the most valuable company in the world now. And since their stock split, they're $127.40. They're actually down 5.57% today. So this is one of the biggest discounted stocks in my top tier list of stocks that I'm watching right now. But if you look over the past year, as you can see, up 200.4%. This is one of my fastest growing stocks in my portfolio. Obviously a huge fan of what they're doing. Nvidia has already been a huge part in the computer industry, using their components in some of the top computers that you would buy at the store, but now also being a huge part of the growth in AI, and which could be a huge part of the future, which really has been a huge part of their growth because everybody knows that AI is coming and it's going to pretty much take over the world. Nvidia is one of the biggest positioned to capitalize on the growth of AI. But as far as a stock at a really nice discount today, if you've been watching Nvidia, they're down 5.57% today. Now, obviously, there's always a risk they could go down more, but a lot of times when they have a dip, they don't stay down for very long. Next, we have Alphabet Inc. You could do Class C or Class A. They're almost mirror images of each other in terms of the stock price. This, of course, is Google, and anything owned by Alphabet, Google, you're talking YouTube, you're talking all of that stuff. So we're looking at a 2.78% dip today on July 11th, which is great. That would be a great time. I like to see it go at least a few percentage points down before I want to buy a company, just to get it at a nice little discount. That way I feel like if it's going to go back up, I feel like I'm ahead. I don't want to buy it when it's already green for, 20 days in a row or something like that. If you look over the past year, though, very solid growth, very steady. You're looking at a 59% return over the past year compared to the S&P 500's 25.8%. And it's getting more and more skewed to the top tier of the S&P 500. It's becoming less and less balanced in the S&P 500. The top tier companies are going to be more and more having an impact on how the S&P 500 is doing at a given time. Like you're talking some of these top tier companies like Nvidia having such a huge impact on how the S&P 500 is doing. So it might make sense to actually diversify in the S&P 500 a little bit less, but that's a whole nother video. Obviously not financial advice, just something that I've been thinking about recently. I just feel like Google and Alphabet Inc. are too big to fail at this point. They have data, probably more data than just about anyone on people. I think data is still going to be I still think data is going to be one of the most valuable assets in the future. No matter what happens with AI is going to be using a lot of data, and Alphabet Inc. is building AI, and they're going to have pretty much the biggest set of data of anyone because of how long they've dominated search, dominated advertising. They have everybody's YouTube feed, everybody's search history. They have all of this information, and they're building AI with the most in-depth information. So I really don't think Google is going anywhere. I think they're going to still be one of the top tier companies going into the future. Another one that I haven't really talked about on this channel yet is Constellation Energy. I believe Constellation Energy could be a interesting buy right now. They're down 1.23% today. They're a company that's had some massive growth over the past year at up 129.8% over the past year. Obviously, another thing that we might want to talk about in a separate video because of its importance, but you're looking at the growth of AI. What are some of the byproducts to the growth of the AI industry? Well, one thing is that they require a lot of servers, they require a lot of computing power, and they use up a lot of electricity. So even though, the world's trying to go more towards clean energy and rely less on fossil fuels, now you got this huge wave of AI coming that's going to probably make that more difficult because all of these servers use a lot of electricity. And so Constellation Energy, I believe, is one of the top energy companies that might be interesting to look at going forward. And you can see their massive growth over the past year. And I believe AI is also going to lead to massive energy consumption, as well as obviously you're going to want to look at the companies that are geared towards building the biggest networks of clean energy as well. But the power grid is going to only get higher in demand. It's only going to get more and more energy required, and AI is just going to accelerate that. So I think Constellation Energy might be worth a look if you're interested in researching energy. We also have Microsoft, which is down 2.48% today. Obviously, I have stock in Microsoft. You may have seen me talk about them, but they've been doing really well for me over the past 6+ months that I've owned Microsoft. And they are a company that obviously is one of the biggest, I think, beneficiaries of the movement in AI. They really acted quickly and getting a partnership with OpenAI and also integrating AI into the Bing search browser, as well as into the kind of the gold standard for Office products, which is Microsoft Office Suite. When you're talking about Excel, when you're talking about Microsoft Outlook for email, and you're talking about Microsoft Word for Word documents, obviously Microsoft Office is still one of the gold standard suite of products for running any kind of office. You have basically Google and Microsoft, another thing that they pretty much dominate between the two. So Microsoft obviously using Microsoft Copilot and integrating their relationship with OpenAI into all of these products, while also having a huge share of the market in computers. Obviously, one of the biggest operating systems is Windows, and also having Microsoft Office products, the Bing browser, which is one of the biggest browsers in the world, the Edge browser, which uses Bing as its search engine. So you're talking about a company that's not going anywhere. They're still going to dominate. They've also been buying up all of these gaming studios, and in hopes to kind of start dominating the gaming industry, which is obviously not going anywhere. It's only going to keep becoming more popular. So I think Microsoft is a great one to own going forward. Obviously, they've been around a long time already, but I really think they are building for the future. 2.48% down today, which is a nice discount. If you look at the past year, they're up 36.76%. Really nice, steady growth over the past year. I believe I bought them right after that OpenAI news had them down for a while. because they weren't sure what was going to happen with the OpenAI CEO, and then he came back, Sam Altman, and then all of that, and then Microsoft, their stock started going up again. So that was a nice little dip that I capitalized on. But we have another nice one right now for some of these top tech stocks, and this is one of the best AI ones out there too. Next, we have Dell Technologies, which I always thought sounded like kind of a dinosaur stock. I didn't know where Dell was really going, but they had a really nice year. Over the past year, they've been up 152.46%. This to this day, this is one of the ones I've been kicking myself the most about not buying. When they were about to have an earnings call, I was really on the fence about buying them. I believe it was right around this time here. I think it was around last August or so. I was really thinking they're going to have this earnings call. It was either around August or it might have been, Q1 of this year. I don't remember exactly which earnings call it was, but man, they've had some really nice spikes over the last year, and they are just killing it right now. So if you're looking at anything in tech stocks, obviously Dell is really positioning themselves well over the past year. 3.46% is a nice discount. That's obviously even lower than many of the others outside of Nvidia that I've showed you so far. So I believe that Dell is one of those that I'm really looking at. It's like, is it a good time for me to finally jump into Dell right now? I'm really thinking about it. Obviously, we also have a couple others I wanted to point out, but I'm not necessarily interested in buying these last two right now because I still have a little hesitation for a few reasons. AMD I've actually owned for a while, and it just became profitable for me. I always believed in AMD. I believe in the growth of AI and their business benefiting from the AI wave going forward. I don't believe Nvidia is just going to be the only one in that area. Obviously, AMD being a kind of direct competitor to Nvidia with their chips and everything. But they're down 1.1% today. As you can see, they've already been kind of bouncing back. They've actually been on a nice growth curve recently. They've been up almost 10% over the last 5 days, which up 14.5% over the past month, which finally got my AMD stock into the profitable side. And that's one of the ones that actually took the longest to get there. All the other ones, though, I've mentioned have done really well pretty much from the beginning. But AMD, I'm still kind of, because I just got on that profitable side, I want to see how things play out for the next few months with them. But again, because they're also already back on the upswing, I feel like you can get a nice discount from some of these other top tier companies where they're down 2, 3, 5% instead of something that's just only down 1%. And last but not least, we have Apple. I've always been kind of on the fence of what to do about Apple. I haven't quite pulled the trigger on them yet. I just feel like they could grow a little bit better considering their dominance of the market of smartphones, of pretty much all household devices. I thought Apple would be doing better. You still have some of the people that saying, oh, they'll never be the same without Steve Jobs and all this stuff. But over the past 5 years, very good growth, obviously. But the past year has just been kind of like, they were up 21% over the past year. They've had a few dips along the way. It's not necessarily like a steady growth like a lot of these other stocks I've been watching. It's kind of up and down. I'm kind of worried that they're going to have another dip soon. But compared to the S&P 500, I like to try and beat the S&P 500. And, they're up 25.8% over the past year. Apple is actually below that. They're actually a little subpar. So Apple, obviously, I'm just kind of seeing what kind of innovation can they do. They kind of fell flat on the VR goggles. They were just too expensive and just too bulky and broke easily, things like that. I'm just not sure where VR is going with that right now. But as far as companies to really look at right now, I feel like Apple, I'm still on the fence about them, what to do. If I really think they're going to innovate over time, are they really going to have a big impact on AI? I've seen them, I think they've had a few acquisitions of small AI companies and startups, but I'm not really sure where they're going yet with that. I'm not sure they're going to make any huge strides with iPhone sales anytime soon, although they kind of dominate the market with that. And it just seems like one of those stocks that may just kind of, rise steadily but not make any huge jumps for a while. Obviously, they had a nice jump here starting from April to about July of 2024. They did a nice jump, but it's still, because of their history over the past year, I'm just not totally sold yet, but it's one of those I could easily eat my words on in the future. I almost forgot about one other one, but believe it or not, I am a believer in Meta. I did finally buy Meta, and I've been very happy with my return since I bought them. Meta is at $512 or so per share. They're actually down 4.11% today, which is really nice if you're interested in buying a dip and you want to take that chance. But over the past year, 71.88% growth, very steady and very solid company, I believe. Obviously, they've had their issues. They have had that dip. They had some controversial things happen, and some people might want to stay away from them because of that, and I totally understand. But I do believe that Mark Zuckerberg and Meta will find a way to be one of the top tier tech companies going forward, and the innovation in AI that they're working on, while also still keeping the VR and the AR dreams alive. I believe at some point something is going to happen with that. I believe the AR sunglasses idea that they have, the partnership, I believe, with Ray-Ban, can make it to where it's not so impractical to have AR glasses and they actually look good. Plenty of people wear glasses and sunglasses as it is. If you can have a similar style, a known style like Ray-Ban that everybody already loves and wears, and you can implement the latest AR technology into that, I believe it could finally get some traction if they can get the price point right, and they can, strategically get it to where people actually recognize the difference it'll make in their life. But I believe with the combination of their AR partnership with some major sunglasses companies like Ray-Ban, could finally get them to where they need to be with wearables, while also dominating social media and one is still the top tier advertising platforms out there, and also being able to see what they do with AI. I believe they could actually be one of the bigger AI companies going forward as well. So they are actually at a really nice discount right now at down 4%. I've had a really good return since investing in them. Last time they had a dip, and I've been happy with them so far. But as far as companies I'm watching right now, some of the ones that I believe are great discounts on the 11th of July 2024, these are some of the ones I'm looking at, and a few others that maybe some others might have recommended that I believe are a little bit not worthwhile compared to these other ones, or some that I'm still on the fence about, like Apple. But hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.